So we just made a Watts reactor, and we now need to actually get a pressure pump for it. This guy doesn't look too bad. It's just some dash motors and stuff, and we should be able to do it no problem. First, we're gonna make the titanium steel plates. We need 5 of them, but there's also something else that's new that we need: a bismuth or arsenic circuit, and yeah, we're gonna be doing that today, as well as probably getting a bunch of fluid heaters, because then we can turn on the reactor. Well, not right away, because I want to have some place for this to go. You could send this to a coking tower to make it into solid mud bricks. Or you can, what is it? This stuff. Yeah, you can send this off to be casted into bricks, or solidified, or coked, or... well, you get the point. But what you're really supposed to do with it is send this to a gas centrifuge, where you can turn it into lead, iron, and dust. And this tiny pile of nuclear waste, well, if you're going to automate this setup, you're going to shred that stuff down. It's garbage. You don't really need it. So this should make about 5 of the plates we need. So we're going to run that through there. That's going to print out 5, and that's going to be good. So that's half of it, half the battle. You got to make the chipset now. Versatile chipset. So how do you make one of these? Well, you need bismuth or arsenic, and arsenic is painful, whereas bismuth, we already have a lot of that, I think. Well, not a lot. We have some. We should have enough for 1. We don't have enough for 1. We definitely do not have enough for 1. What do we use the rest of bismuth for? What on earth? So to get our bismuth, we're gonna need to process tungsten through a multi-step process, which is basically just we're gonna take this tungsten ore from over. Holy crap! Who needs this much tungsten ore? This is too much tungsten ore. You don't need this much. You only need a stack, and then you're pretty much set. But if you have this much for some reason, then I don't know what you're doing. But you're doing something right. So the first step, we gotta take it to a centrifuge, process it down into multiple different parts. So we're gonna start here. Gonna remove all this garbage, shove it away in this box, and this should do the trick. We'll get us started. As you can see, that gives us 4 of these centrifuge tungsten ores, which now we can process through this guy. Also, I have a lot of coal powder and stuff, which I need to get rid of. Alright, so we're gonna make some lignite coke while we wait, and while that's happening, we're gonna go ahead and take care of some stuff over here. So we're currently making the separated tungsten, correct? Yes. And we need to process the separated tungsten through the process right here. So we're gonna make clean tungsten. So once we've made separated tungsten ore, we can take this over to the this guy over here, where we can put it through this guy, nitric acid. Correct? Yes. The final step in this process requires you to use this guy with high performance solvent, I believe, which comes from over here. It takes a very long time to make a lot of this, so yeah, you should definitely automate it or something. I don't have it fully automated, but I do have the setup for getting this stuff really quickly. Okay, as you can see, we have 1,000. If you put in chlorinated petroleum wax, that's the stuff I can get very quickly. I cannot get this stuff very quickly, because I'm just relying on this guy to do all the work for that. But it's much better to use a one of these guys that runs on a neutron source rather than plutonium for making this stuff. So with our HP solvents, we can just take this over to here and then process it. I do not expect this to be enough at all. Make sure there's nothing in there, because otherwise you're going to lose some very valuable solvent. Now, does this need to be processed through there, or does it need to be processed through here? No clue. Maybe it needs to be processed through here. We'll give it some time. Nitrocrystalline. Well, that seems like it might need to be through here. Yeah, it's giving us lead fragments. Okay, that's part of the process. Okay. So nitrocrystalline can go through here, and this is where you get your high-performance solvent and stuff. Then after this, you process it through another centrifuge. This is going to give us seared tungsten ore, and we only need like 2 of the thingies, so I guess just set them in there. Better yet, we could process it at this centrifuge, which is not doing anything at all right now. So, as you can see, that yields crystalline bismuth fragments, which are what we need to progress even further. With 9 of these, you can make 1 powder. That's what you can make. It's pretty good. I mean, it's not the best. We're gonna get way more bismuth from the actual running the new Watts reactor, because it does produce bismuth in a very small quantity, of course. We need 2 more. Good thing I actually made 2 more, or 2 of them. So, like, I did not expect to need 2. I was expecting to need 1 because I thought I had 7 already. But the other one will give us what we need to finish up. So, 9 bismuth. Nice. So now I'm gonna take these bismuth, put them like that. Bismuth powder. So this chipset, right? This adaptable circuit assembly. Yeah, this stuff. The bismuth kind. There we go. Versatile. So it's 2 asbestos, some polymer, and bismuth ingot. Shouldn't be too difficult. Of course, I'm out of business, so I have to go up here to get some. So now we should be able to make the circuit, the chipset. All we need to do is do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. Boom. There is a chipset assembly. Now you gotta run this through the press. It has to be the press. Can't be anything else. Unfortunately. We're gonna need a circuit stand for chips. Shove it in there, and that should do the trick. Now for the next part of the pump, which we already have most of this done. We just need the dash motors now, which won't be a problem at all because it's just regular motors plus a little bit of dash. Alright, so now all I have to do is make regular motors now, which is not a problem at all. There we go. We now have our dash motors. So with all that's basically all we have to do to get the thing up and running. Crazy. Holy crap. We're basically done. Now we do need one final thing. That's the pipes, of course, but those are incredibly cheap to produce. When you have 5 boxes of steel, yeah, that's a lot of steel in it. But now we have our pressure pump, one of the most important parts of this machine. So this pressure pump is going to go on the top of the machine. I'm gonna just set it on top. That's all I'm doing today, I think. Well, maybe we'll tackle the other stuff. We do need a bunch of heaters, heat exchangers and stuff. We gotta get on top of this guy. So we jump up like so. This guy goes on the top in the center, and then it's done. You just power him with a piece of redstone on top, and yeah, it'll run. But we still gotta deal with the hot coolant and regular coolant, and also the poisonous mud and all of that. So to deal with the coolant and the hot coolant, you actually need to make coolant first, pump it in. It's a whole thing. I'll take care of that probably on my own. It's made of niter. But for other stuff, you need to make the things, heat exchangers, basically. And you need 4 of these guys. So that's gonna be 4 heat exchangers. There's a lot of heat exchangers. Let's go grab some steel so we can make that. Technically, you don't need 4, but I'm gonna run 4 since that's, I don't know, I just feel like that's a good number. You could probably run 1. Yeah, you could totally run 1, actually. Yeah, and we might just go with the 1, and then we're gonna build a Leviathan steam turbine for it, so we can run just one single heat exchanger for regular steam. I mean, we're not gonna get, like, if we run it through a Leviathan, you're not gonna get much energy output for it, because it's like, you only get 85% of the energy output, but it could run a lot of stuff through it, so it makes up for that. I mean, I don't know how much steam we're gonna produce in like a single second from running this thing. It could be a lot. But one thing I do know is that the heat exchanging heater, we're going to need to make one of them at least, and we're also going to need to make a boiler so we can boil the water through the coolant loop. So we're going to need 8 cast steel plates for this next part, which I'm pretty sure is just 24 of these, because 24 divided by 3 is 8. Actually, that is right, that's right. As far as turbines go, I don't know. Don't know what we're doing with that. It's probably going to produce a lot. We might definitely want to go for this guy, but that's probably going to be a whole episode of its own. Going for this machine. This thing is huge. Oh, maybe we can do it. We got to get started on it somewhere. Clearly the first part we should start with is those 6 things, because that's going to be pretty easy. So just making 6 of these guys. Okay, well that's quite annoying. And then we just need 5. 6. There we go. Boom. Shove that in there. So that's one thing done. The 12 titanium plates. Easy peasy. Just take those. Boom. Now, I made 4 of these at one point in one of my series. I made 4 of them for the fusion reactor building. Which was, I don't know. I don't know why I did that, but that was an idea, I guess. I don't think you need to have specifically 4 of them. In fact, you can actually do combinations of them. Although that series was on 112, so who knows what I was thinking then. So tungsten is going to be the biggest part of this that costs a lot of resources. Because you need like quite a few tungsten turbofan blades. Beryllium. Okay. And these generator bodies, of course. That's going to take a bit of time. Alright, so now that we got the industrial boiler and the other thing at least, we can begin our project. So you'll have noticed that this thing actually has a bunch of, like, looks like holes on it. What are these? Well, these are where you do your exchanging, your heat exchanging, your fluid exchanging, everything goes through those holes on the top and bottom. That's where it does the magic. Okay. We're gonna run some pipe down there, and then we're gonna run pipe underneath as well. That's gonna be for our heat exchanging system. Should be pretty simple. And fit like so. Boom. So here we have coolant and hot coolant selected, so now I can just go between the two. We're gonna go with hot coolant for the bottom and regular coolant for the top, I guess, I don't know. I have no clue how that would work because physics says that heated stuff should go up, where hot stuff should, or cool stuff should go down. I'm not sure how that's gonna work, but hey, we'll find out. We'll find out. Who knows? So this thing will produce a lot of hot coolant, so you're gonna want to definitely have this thing on a very high setting, which is why it's kind of insane. And you could run this to a coker that actually cokes the stuff that comes out of this thing. But that's a waste, because that stuff goes to the centrifuges, which I'll have set up over here at some point in the future. It's a lot of, we're gonna need a lot of centrifuges, so yeah. And this won't fit because the ceiling does not offer enough space for this guy. Apparently. How big is this thing? Like, it can't be that big. It just barely goes through the ceiling. Okay then. You want this on a very high number. This is going to take in hot coolant, and we're going to just set this to like 400. It's the only way it can go through the system and back into this guy. So then we're just going to need to get coolant and fuel, and this thing should be up and running. Of course, that's after I get the centrifuges set up at some point. This will turn water into steam, of course. And that steam will be sent over to a gigantic turbine. Probably upstairs, maybe. That would be a decent place to put it.